man. That's our little doggy. Morning. Morning. Yeah, we got a little watchdog going on here. This is the morning marijuana motivation time. Your host with the most is Marky Saint. Good to see you. Too cute. Why you get so big? Your big old feet. Yo. Good to see you. Have a blessed day. Yeah, you too. Dude, blind spots. As I'm walking across the street and I didn't see the dog or I didn't see the traffic, we all have blind spots, and today's probably going to be my most viral video because I'm prepared. I did some research, but it was some experience that I had with my co-founder, and I was like, I'm speaking English, and he's like, so am I, and I'm like, but there's a blind spot, and that we all got to have this conversation in the morning. It's Saint's Addiction. I keep it real, but here's how it goes if you're ready to listen. And trust me, this is going to be a hard one. So, the LVOG, Las Vegas original, baby. Like, do this, LVOG. It's come quite a long way to be here in Finland right now to have this conversation about blind spots that we all have. Now, you can see in a car, you know, there's like an A pillar, B pillar, C pillar, right? A blind spot is something when, like, you go to the right and you didn't see the car at all. The car was obviously there, but you still hit it anyway. That's our blind spot. That's the spot that we can't see, even with our awareness. Maybe we just don't want to see. It's in our subconscious. And the worst part about it is it hurts us. Like, it's like the things you don't know end up hurting you. Well, that's actually quite true. We end up putting ourselves in positions that are weakening us, sort of like a chessboard, and we didn't even know we were dropping pieces. This is some knowledge I'll be dropping to you today because it's like, it was so aha to me. I was wondering why I wasn't getting along with my fellow co-founder. We kept butting heads, and I'm like, well, I'm a Taurus. You know, I got my horns out, and it's easy to butt heads with me. Everybody will tell you it's not easy to do with Marky saying I'm fucking driven. And this he's obsessed with it too. He's compulsive about business, which I like about him. We actually get along pretty well. It was just we were butting heads on certain things, and I was just like, you're too analytical. Maybe it's your European mindset, you know? Everything has to be in centimeters and millimeters over here, and I'm dealing with inches. That's what she said. But the point is that when I was explaining it to him, I'm like, man, what's wrong with this situation? I'm speaking English, and obviously English is his second language, but he's speaking English too. It wasn't the languages that we were speaking, it was the style that we were speaking. See, everybody has a different love language or different style that they like to participate in. I just learned this, or maybe I learned this about him. I didn't just learn about, different, learn love habits or different speaking languages. It's the way you speak, It's the tone that you speak in. A lot of women is like, not what you said, it's your tone, right? And if you don't follow through with your emotional thoroughness, right, it'll bleed throughout the words that you say. My spiritual mentor, Terry Prince, would tell you, who you are, shout so loudly I can't even hear you. So if you're really pissed off, right, and you got that tone, and we all know the tone of anger, then we get to be at our worst capabilities, where we're going to be saying things fast off the cuff. We're going to say things that we don't mean, and we're going to say things mean. So this is a big thing. And it's like, okay, well, if I wanted to have self-control, right? If I actually wanted to be heard, what are my blind spots that keeping me from actually having the words come out properly? This is a big thing. The reason this happens is because usually it's our ego. It's not your amigo, and never will be. It'll always create a big blind spot that you can't see and always get you in big wrecks that you don't want to be a part of. The tough part is being able to control your mind to say, hey, maybe there is a different way. This is a big step, because then you put your ego in park. Then you put it to the side and you say, okay, maybe this person might have a point. It's usually your parents. It's usually a teacher. It's usually a friend. Then you'll be like, I don't know why there are no guys. And it's like, well, if your friend goes and sits there and goes, well, because you're too picky, you'll be like, okay, but you got a point, right? And it's always our friends that can actually break us off something fierce and be like, okay, you do know me. You know what I mean? You've been around for a while. You've seen how many ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends to say what you're about to say. And it'll be true. The tough part is actually being able to step aside and start to see with your real eyes. So realize, realize, realize. And the tough part is we will start talking to ourselves with lies. This is why I always say I see you on the other side of your fear, is because when you're talking to yourself with a lie, it's denial. And it's not just the river in Egypt, I promise you that. It's a way to shade ourselves from this house that we built. Here's a good little old house built by an 8-year-old, right? And in that emotional stability of an 8-year-old, you'll get into this situation and be like, this is how I protect myself, right? I'm under siege, war is happening, it's knocking on my door and everybody's attacking me. Well, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of saying is maybe they're opening your eyes to what you can't see. And this is what ends up happening. So we go and do our live, and right after our live, it ends, and guess what? Me and him kind of get into it. And I went like, look, all this argument happened over today over a graph. I was telling him that all this verbal vomit, all these words that ChatGPT spills out looks like a novel to us. Nobody's going to sit there and read it like an encyclopedia and go, okay, this is exactly what they mean. Now, for some people, the more details, the merrier, right? Like, just bring it on. I need to learn, and I need my measuring tool. What I was telling him is, it's like the weather. Look how beautiful it is today, right? I couldn't wait to do this morning motivation. It's not the weather that's important. It's the style of conversation that ends up happening. It's an icebreaker. I keep telling them, it's like a woman. When you get in front of her, you sure didn't fucking come over there to talk to her about the weather. That was your excuse to talk to her. You just wanted to fucking be near her. Now, guess what? You're in front of her and a lot of sub-conversation is going on. Your body language, are you stammering? Are you saying things concisely? She's measuring you up, and you're always going to be measured. It's just what part of life is, right? You go into a jail, they're going to measure you up. Are you punkable, or are you going to stand up for yourself? If you go into a fighting situation, they're going to look at you, and it's a little too late to do those push-ups and learn boxing, right? Or if you're in that's a physical conversation, or if you're in a financial situation, are you going to be the type of person to be like, I'm going to learn my way, or I'm going to earn my way? Most people try to pay their way out. This is why it's happening. We don't want to see. It's the tough part, but it's really hard to see what really hurts us, the stuff that's really sensitive to our hearts, and I'm touching mine because it is. It's going to be hard to hear that you have anger issues. It's me, personally. I had to learn the hard way by losing a baby. So I'm giving you this key, high key, not low key information, so that way you don't have to be like me and lose something that's really important to you because you were too blinded by your anger, blinded by the light, you know what I'm saying? Because it is the morning motivation. We got to have that sunshine. But it's also this thing that, like, you can't see anymore, right? Like, if I go stare at the sun, and I can, you know what I mean? If I go stare into the sun, I won't be able to see. Now everybody, well, that doesn't make sense. There's so much light. Why didn't it illuminate what you were trying to see? I'm trying to illuminate you and enlighten you and say there's a lot of things that we don't see. And this is why it's so tricky, is because it is a blind spot. It's something that you subconsciously are doing, but consciously you're not aware of it. And then when it happens, you keep making mistakes and you're going like, why am I at fault here? How is that possible? I did everything right. I said what I would do, and I do what I say, and all this is supposed to add up, and 1 + 1 = 2. That's not math. That's not math. That's not girl math. That's not how life maths, and that's actually not the reality. So here, let me get you on some real shit. Let me put some light on the situation. Let me get my Saint shades on real quick. So I'm at my favorite bridge. I'm in a good mood. I'm healthy. I'm working out. And now I'm centered. Now I can have this conversation. So what ends up happening is that you go in maybe too analytical, like my co-founder was, and he was missing the point that he was getting bogged down by the details, right? The devil's in the details, or maybe not. But guess what? It doesn't matter the details. It matters the tone, right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. And if you don't believe me, try talking to a woman about it. I actually wrote down, this is nice and hot out here today. Nice and hot. Yeah, we're here by the river. We're going to have this conversation. I actually wrote it down so I could have this conversation. I actually screenshotted it on what computers or what us humans have. I use the computer to do this, but what us humans have as blind spots, right? And I was like, what is a blind spot actually? What's the difference? What's the opposite of analytical? I have a screenshot here. And it turns out messy, unsymmetrical, illogical, irrational, messy. So somebody that's really pedantic, it's all about the details, they're going to harbor down and hunker down on the deets, the details. When most people, they don't give a shit about the details. It's the way that you make them feel. And this has happened to me before when I was selling cars. In front of 100 of my peers, I was trying to talk to the boss man with his gold Rolex, diamond encrusted. He said, "Who's going to sell me this car?" And I said, "I will." I stepped up. I know I'm a Tundra champ, right? I know all the details. I know the 14.7 diameter disc brakes and how the dual crumple zones and all these other different details that didn't even matter because I didn't ask him about himself. Do you have any children? Oh, what are you going to be using this car for? Would you need four-wheel drive? I didn't ask any of that shit, dude. I just data dumped on him, sprayed him with a bunch of knowledge, and everybody went and looked around, and he asked, why did that even end up happening? And I said, I don't know why that didn't even happen. I just kept talking, and he said, that's because telling isn't selling. And this is the difference between what we actually do and what we're not seeing that we do. So I was telling him this, and I'm going to go into my little thing here. It says psychological blind spots or unconscious bias. Right here, you can't really see it because of the sun, but an unconscious bias, thinking pattern, or personality characteristics that individuals are unaware of, but are apparent to others. It was like your best friend. Like, bro, I've been knowing you your whole life. You do this all the time. What? No. Yeah. These can include unrecognized thought patterns, emotional responses, and behaviors that impact decision making and relationships, were hidden from our perception, often due to mind's natural way of protecting itself or being shaped by past experiences and social conditioning. Identifying these blind spots is a crucial step in personal growth and self-awareness. This is why this is going to be my biggest, I just know it's going to go viral. It's important that you don't know that what you're biased against will make you vote a certain type of way, will make you act a certain type of way, and then make you respond a certain type of way. So it's not like exactly you're in on it, like I was talking about Flight of the Navigator and you got the controls. No, more like you let someone else control you. You get played. Congratulations, you played yourself. One of those situations where you're like, I thought I had it all under control. What you didn't have under control was your blind spot. And this is like looking over your shoulder or making sure the coast is clear. This is how you get clear. You go and said unconscious bias. These are implicit associations that affect how we perceive and judge things without conscious awareness, right? Cognitive errors, right? Systematic patterns of deviation from rationality in judgment that influence decisions and behavior. So if you feel like you're attacked, guess what? You're going to attack back. And emotional patterns, hidden emotional responses or needs, such as a need for constant praise that are not acknowledged by the individual but are clear to others. So it's like, pick me. It's like Monica on Friends. She's like, you don't know me at all. Like, I have to be the best, bitch. And then hidden behaviors and thought patterns. Aspects of oneself, including limiting beliefs, which is always what I keep talking about, kill the ants, automatic negative thoughts, and ineffective behaviors that are recognized by individuals but not seen by others. This is all of our friends seeing us act like a retard, pull the same shit, keep breaking up with boyfriends when they treat us good, quit when we get ahead. I know for me, I would get so much anxiety when I started to succeed that I would self-sabotage and almost drill holes in my canoe so I wouldn't move ahead, which is kind of weird, but it would happen. Let's see, why do they exist? Protective function of the brain. Yeah, the mind can create blind spots. There it is, just say it right there, to protect itself from overwhelming and distressing information, especially related to mental health. That's what we do. We protect ourselves in that 8-year-old house that we built when we were kids, and that way it doesn't challenge our egos or our belief systems or anything else that we dumb down and double down on. This is what keeps us from doing this, especially related to mental health, right? Formation for experiences and conditioning. Our worldview, influenced by emotional factors, past experiences, and social conditioning, shapes how we perceive reality and can lead to blind spots. This is what I'm trying to say there is, it's like if we have linear thinking that we like, hey, it happened in the past, like if this guy's going to be nice to me, then he's going to cheat on me like the other guy did, or this always happens when I'm about to be successful, or good morning, I don't ever really want to be, actually out of successful because I feel like I'm not good enough. Those type of things actually happen. And then they'll say the self-perception bias. People often have a biased view of themselves, tending to believe that they are less biased than others, making it harder to see their own flaws. So it's like, I'm not biased. No, I'm always straight arrow. I wouldn't virtual signal. I wouldn't have subversive behaviors or alternative desires. Bullshit. We all do. That's why it's called Saints Addiction for a reason. Anyway, this hinders your clarity. They prevent people from seeing situations in themselves clearly, leading to poor decision making. This is why I started this show. It's the morning motivation. I don't want you to make bad decisions. We'll see. How does this affect people? Well, first of all, let's bless up. It's the morning marijuana motivation. I already got my joint ready to go, but time to smoke. Hinders clarity. Already talked about poor decision making. Impacts relationships. Unrecognized behaviors or emotional needs can cause offense or strain in relationships without the person realizing it. This is what we all want. We all want love. And the only reason we're not getting it is because we're getting in our own way. And nobody wants to talk about that. They'll hire a dating coach. They'll blame it on the internet. Where all the good men have gone, but never a self-reflection moment, never in the eye, in the mirror, in the morning going like, yo, bro, what's going on with you? And this delays help for mental health. Blind spots can prevent individuals from recognizing the signs of mental health conditions and seeking necessary help. This is why most of us go see psychologists after breakups. We're like, what happened? I didn't see it. Well, why did he? There were no warning signs. Bullshit, motherfucker. You just didn't want to see it. Blind spots. And definitely join Weed Club too. So stalls personal growth. By obscuring one's own limitations or shortcomings, blind spots can impede self-awareness and hinder personal development. Who would have known? Saints Addiction, baby. That's who. How can you identify them? Look for feedback. Pay attention to consistent feedback from trusted friends, family members about, what did it say? What does it say? About your behaviors or emotions. These are the people that are closest to you. These are the people that have been raised up with you. They know that if you say something about your dog that you'll get set on fire and then get really angry, or it hurts too much to know that somebody's cheating on you or you're not doing your best. So why even bring it up? We'll hide it. You know what I mean? Examine your reactions. This is where Marky Saint failed. I couldn't be controlled. I said, you can't stop me. My mom can't stop me. You can't stop me. No one can stop me. And the fact was that I didn't finish the sentences. I couldn't stop myself. It's a shame of my life. I don't want anybody else to go through it, lose a baby, lose a relationship, lose love, because I was too stupid. I couldn't show them that I could be a father, that I could control even under pressure. This is what women are looking for. They're not looking for more pressure. They're looking for people that can alleviate pressure. And men are looking for the same. I need peace. I don't want somebody to cause me chaos. Seek professional help. I did. And apparently I'm a cluster B personality, but I'll continue. So be curious about your strong reactions to others' behaviors, and this can reveal something about yourself. Cool. Seek professional help. A therapist or coach can provide a confidential and guided space to identify the process and emotional and behavioral blind spots. Says it again, blind spots. And then, of course, acknowledge discomfort. Be prepared to sit with some discomfort when uncovering these hidden aspects of yourself, and it's the first step towards healing. Now, that's what we all want. We all want to be healed. Nobody wants to keep hurting. Heal over hurt is one of my Mostly Saint shirts. It's the truth. And matter of fact, who wants to hurt? Like my friend said once to me, well, I don't want to hurt alone, Mark. And I was like, yeah, I finally understood that, especially from a Taurus to a Scorpio. It made sense to me. What I couldn't see is when things were emotional to me, I would respond like I have valid points, right? Like you started it and I'll finish it. And the way you're seeing it's not right. The way I'm saying it is right. And I'm not even saying it right. I'm saying it with a tone and discomfort and I got called out basically. You know what I'm saying? Let me get on this so we don't have to have these dogs barking this whole time. This is what happens to us. We forget that we are also in a community, that other people are watching us, even if we don't see ourselves watching ourselves. Other people are looking at us and they're going to see, like, did you blow up at a waitress? Did you treat the guy fairly in the waiter or the wait staff? We watch these things because this is showing who your true character is. Even if you're trying to hide it, even if you don't want them to see it, it's the truth of it. You know what I'm saying? Good morning. Yeah, dogs on shirts. Good dog. Yeah. And that's what ends up happening. We get all upset, pissed enough to miss the bus, and then we're mad that we missed the bus. And it's like, you're the one that missed the bus. You're the one that didn't take initiative, didn't get up earlier enough, didn't set your alarm. Whatever it is, whatever your excuse is, it's on you. And if it's meant to be, it's up to me. This is why this is such an important thing. That's where. Because I didn't want to have blind spots. I didn't want to be weak. I didn't want to be the one drilling holes in my own canoe. And this opened a whole world of vision for me, like this big open field. It was once covered in bush that I couldn't see through. You know, this is like the French used to have the hedgerows, you know, like even tanks couldn't get through this shit. It's just gnarly, you know what I mean? But if you come over here, somebody mowed the lawn, paid attention, and now it's clear. I hope you can see it. It's nice and clear. Hell, shit, I can probably even go in here. Let's go in here a little bit, shall we? You know, standing in a clear field, which I can do so I can get away from all these people and dogs and bikes and all this other shit. But to stand in a clear area like I'm getting into, to get my vision around what I'm seeing, it's almost like getting on the higher ground, right? You know, you want to get on what do they say that? Upper land or higher ground. Basically, I said that already. But to get here, to see yourself, not with your fear and not with your bias, you know, but with an open eye. That's why I put an eye on the thumbnail this morning, is because an all-seeing eye will see that when you're starting to lie, when you're starting to cover your own ass, when you're starting to get scared. And then that's when we really expose ourselves. This is like psychology 101. And I do actually have a psychology degree, but even having a psychology degree didn't make it make sense to me. I'll get in arguments with people. I'm like, what was that all about? You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, how did that even transpire? And then I have to digest it and dissect it. And what ended up happening, like I was telling my co-founder, is like, you're too analytical for me. I'm like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that was the first bush that I found, right? The first burning bush, you know, like Moses, to see the light and to get the 10 commandments, right? You're going to have to talk to yourself a little bit differently than you've been already operating in. It might be a tough conversation, but you might want to ask your friends like, hey, you've known me a long time. Why do you think that I'm single? Or your friends, he's like, why are you so good with money? Or how come you're so calm? Like my other co-founder, Miles, he was just so good at calming the situations down. He's got his English accent. He asks you your side. Okay, what happened, right? And then, you know, and you know you're hard to deal with, right? And he broke it down right. And all those things. I said, yeah, man, there's a reason why I'm calling a mediator, because I know me in the situation, I'm going to be like, Merhaba, I see you in Turkey. I'm going to be like, I'm under my own duress. I'm under my own influence and my own bias that I'm like so still fired up that I have to hold my position. If I hold this position, I can't see the other position. And just like the debate class, you got to know both sides of the situation. You can't just be in your own head and be like, yeah, everything that I says goes, and that's just the way it's going to be. My way or the highway mentality will get people off your highway really quickly. Just ask my father. So anyway, my point is this. When I was looking at the blind spot, I was seeing that he was like, it's all about the details. Look at the analytics, look at the metrics, but the metrics will lie. And I literally just watched your boy, Amazon.com, and they were like, no, dude, everybody keeps saying we're waiting too long on the phone. Well, the phone call's supposed to be less than 60 seconds. So he's sitting in front of all the people. The metrics say that it's not the case. Yep. All the statistics, all the graphs. Well, fucking Jeff Bezos was like, let's just call him in front of all his executives. And guess what? They were on hold for like 10 minutes, bro, on his own company. And that was an eye-opening experience, because then there's nowhere to blame. You know, it's the reality of the situation. Whether you want to see the reality of the situation is really the question. And this is when you can say, I got my glasses on, rose tinted sunglasses, blind in my spot. Or B, I start to see that, yeah, I do get pretty fired up when people disagree with me, or I have a tough time relating to other people. I start to get introverted instead of extroverted, or I'm a bold personality. You just got to deal with me. That's just the way that I am. This is bad programming. This is when we get really fucked up and we wonder why our situation isn't better, is because we haven't improved our blind spots. We all have them. It's part of human nature. It's not like we're perfectly imperfect at mostly saints, but it's also, you can fix it. And this is why I'm having this conversation this morning, because all of us have something to work on, bro. We all have a pattern. Yep. We all have a cycle. We all do things. It's such a repetitive pattern that us as human creatures, that's just the way that we operate, right? We're all just like that all the time. We're just like, I want to stay comfortable. Well, just like the thing said in the thing, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. It's going to be an uncomfortable truth to actually see the way that you are and the way that you've been behaving. And that's a tough part for all of us. It's all about behavioral patterns. It's all about actions, and the actions that we take will determine our future. And that's just facts. And I know everybody knows that. But are you going to take action today? Are you going to go say, hey, what are my blind spots? It's an open question, but it's not like what you bring to the table. It's more like what you're not saying is under the table. What is really happening on the inside of you? Well, it turns out, my siblings would beat up on me. So I always felt like I was the hind teat. So I had to fight back so I can prove that I could fight. Or like the Monica of the Friends, I got to be better than everybody because honestly, I used to be a fat kid and I feel insufficient inside. Or me, Marky Saint, where I was just so determined, I was blinded by the light. Can't even see the sun right now through the clouds. And it didn't matter how I treated people. I was just going to go through you, over you, or under you. It didn't matter. Well, guess what? I was supposed to go with you. And that's what I forgot. I was supposed to go with the woman that was carrying my child. I was supposed to go with the flow and show the ability to control my emotions instead of wilding out and just freaking out and fucking and flipping out. And then they were just like, you're completely unstable. I can't have a child with you. That's my harsh truth. And I hope you don't have to lose a child to figure this out. But this is what I had to learn. I learned that I didn't have self-control. For somebody that's so determined, go live every day, so consistent, doing all the push-ups, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, it didn't matter. But what I didn't want to do was do my analytics, look at the research, and dive deeper into why I was doing what I was doing. And that's made all the difference, because then I could sit there and go, something has to change, Mark. And I used to say, something's going to give, but it ain't going to be me. Well, it had to be me, because if I kept going the way that I kept going, I was only going to hurt me. And that's not what Saints Addiction is about. It's about being honestly flawed. Warts and all, and just taking a longer look at myself and going, okay, yeah, I do act that way. If I feel like I'm attacked, then I will attack. This is the reason I don't drink anymore, because somebody will say some shit to me, and I'll be like, what'd you just say about my mama? And it's all bad. So we'll take offense real quickly. And like I just watched a Menace to Society, he was like, I went in for a beer and I left as a murder, what did he say? Associate to murder or something like that. That what you say about my mama is a temperament, and we all have it. Like a dog, like a horse. We all act some type of way. And if we act that way, we'll get that same result that we've been getting. And the only way to get out is to get out of your own way, And that's what I was figuring out I was like, son of a bitch, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. I got to start with me and see that I can't always speak esoteric and metaphorically and spiritually if someone's being analytical and they're still staring at the graph and wondering why the algorithm's not matching the actuality. And it's just like that Amazon phone call. Most of us are thinking it's only going to take a minute. It's over 10-minute wait time. And to kill this wait time is not to pay attention to the metrics and not to look at all your graphs and analytics. Like that's for intersect.ai. What you need to be doing, and I don't even say this, but what we all should do, and that's even harder to say, but a woke person, hold on a second. Somebody with self-awareness will self-examine themselves, and a life examined is what your boy Aristotle talked about. An unexamined life was not lived, and this is the morning marijuana motivation, is I wanted you to examine yourself and say, what are the patterns that I'm not seeing, because we all know our weaknesses, but we're not really intimate with them, because if they sink in too deep, then it'll hurt our feelings, and then we get uncomfortable, and then nothing changes. So if nothing changes, then nothing changes. Today, I would like for you to change something about your blind spots. I want you to not only look over your right shoulder or left shoulder before you take a turn, not only signal before you take that turn, but know why you're taking that turn. This is the biggest awareness of us all. It's like, why do I always act that way? Why do I get that way? And why am I this way? That's a morning marijuana motivation. This is Saints Addiction. As always, peace and love. And Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever here in Finland and Finnish. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. But the other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I be. And the only reason I am here is because I had to face my fear. I had to talk out those excuses. And most importantly, I had to just go, let it go, and just flow.